Hello and welcome to Sabina Reefing. In this episode we're going to be going over the Tunze 3155 Auto Top-Off versus the Smart ATO. This is the Tunze Osmolator on my home 300-gallon aquarium. Tunze Osmolator has been a great ATO. I've used it for almost 3 to 4 years now. It did have one issue right at the beginning when I was using the pump. You can see up here in the card that I just added what the issue was and how to fix the pump not priming issue. The Tunze here on this big 300-gallon aquarium is hooked directly up to the RODI system, which goes up the wall 10 feet, that way almost 100 feet, and then back down to 10 feet, and then to the RODI unit on the other side of the garage. So it's very convenient. I don't have ATO reservoir anywhere around here, but it does come with some risk, which luckily this ATO has never had any problems with. One is the sensor, if it ever somehow decided to leave it on, could flood the house. So there's multiple redundancies. First and most important, anybody that's going to be hooking up any type of RODI system directly to their auto top-off unit needs to have a mechanical float valve. When all the electronics fails, because everything fails, I need a backup, and that backup needs to be a different type of system. Mechanical float valve is a perfect example. It's $10. Don't skimp on this, regardless of the ATO. The next backup is the actual built-in timer inside the Tunze Osmolator, which is great because it only allows it to stay on for 10-15 minutes, I believe, which is also terrible for a system this big, where 10 to 15 minutes on 75 gallons per day is, you know, a half a gallon. This has tripped that timer before, so I have to reset the system once to twice a day. So it stays on 23 hours of the day. When I reset it, I have the biggest drawback I have about the Tunze Osmolator, and it might not make a difference to anybody else, and it's not that big of a deal to me, is the beep. When this thing comes on, it has an audible beep that you cannot turn off. I talked with Tunze about it. It's not that big of a deal, but just be aware of it. If you're like me and your head is about 8 inches behind this wall, that beep, which is right inside here, might be more than you want to hear at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. The next level of redundancy inside the system is built into the Tunze Osmolator. It's got a mechanical float valve at the top, which I've separated in my system so that when I do a water change, it doesn't go off and give me an annoying alarm. But otherwise, this is a great system, and I really like it. You can see here it's got a really heavy-duty valve that seems to be brass or bronze. I don't have any copper on any of my tests, so I've never really worried about the bronze inside the valve, but you do need to be aware of it. The next ATO we're going to talk about is the Smart ATO by Auto Aqua. This is on my work aquarium. It's a 150-gallon aquarium. I'm also hooking it directly up to an RODI system, so again, I have a float valve. This is a step that you should never skip, and I haven't skipped it on these two systems. The Auto Aqua has a sensor with a magnetic couple on the inside. It's a really nice sensor. I've had no problems with it getting dirty or ever false triggering or staying on or staying off. It couples to only clear sumps though, or aquariums. So you can't do this with, like, my sump here at my home aquarium is a acrylic sump, but it's white, so it's not transparent. So here at work, where it's on a glass aquarium, it works just fine. The sensor has been flawless in the 2.5 years that I've had it, which is a huge recommendation. I do, however, have one fairly large problem, which was the actual valve that the sensor turns on and off. The valve has actually, on 3 different occasions, gotten stuck on. Not fully on, but enough that it continued to leak water, fresh water into my system, all the way up until my float valve, actually mechanical float valve, had to turn the system off. Obviously the Auto Aqua set its alarms, it turned off, it did everything it was supposed to. The Neptune Apex, which has a special program which only allows it to be on for about 20 to 30 minutes a day, so that it could not, even if it got stuck on, flood my tank. That doesn't help if the valve is actually physically not closing and allows water in. So final decision, which one am I going to use, the Smart ATO or the Tunze Osmolator? It's a pretty obvious decision to me. I hope it's an obvious decision to you. The valve failing on the Smart ATO was an absolute deal breaker for me. I'm getting rid of this ATO unit, and I could either go with another Tunze Osmolator like this one, or I could go ahead and try something a little bit different. I'm going to be going with the Neptune Apex Auto Top-Off unit. I think there's going to be some neat programming things that I can do with it, and since it's here at my home aquarium, I don't want to hear the beep anymore, so I'm going to put the Neptune Apex Auto Top-Off unit here, and I'm going to take the Tunze Osmolator and I'm going to move that to the work tank so that it has something that's more reliable, that's not going to flood this tank when I'm on a service call in Ohio for a week. So I'm hoping the Neptune Apex lives up to the level of the Tunze Osmolator. If it exceeds it, that's all the better. Smart ATO, the head unit is awesome, and if you're going to use a head unit with a pump, I think this is a surefire win. But if you're going to use the Smart ATO with its valve, the valve has an issue. One thing that I did notice is these valves aren't very sophisticated. They're a 24-volt valve. You could easily hook the Smart ATO up to Tunze Osmolator valve. Now I'm sure they don't condone that, or neither of the manufacturers really wants to be responsible for the other person's equipment, but it might be for the people that have the Smart ATO and don't want to spend another $200 on the Tunze Osmolator, might be the way to go to save yourself a bit of money and get something that's a little bit more reliable than the Smart ATO. Thank you for watching this episode. I hope you learned a lot. If you want to see more, click either of the two videos here. I'm going to have a lot more coming out, and if you want to see and get notifications, click the subscribe button right down there and help me out. Thank you for watching. Until next time.